So back to this female that I am making an example of. Additionally, she was quoted as saying, "He doesn't criticize, argue with, or make me feel flawed. He just adores me." Okay, well, you could be his granddaughter and you're very firm and petite. I'm sure he does adore you. You know? Seriously. This is called placation. He will not criticize you, point out your flaws or issues. Why? Because he does not want you to develop. He does not want you to address your issues, because if you resolve them, he knows you will find yourself as far away from the relationship with him as possible. By definition, these men are enablers, and you'll find in most of these relationships the dynamic is essentially enablism on the part of the elder man. They do not want you to address your issues, they do not want you to develop emotionally. But, this young female could not function in a relationship with somebody her own age. Not because she was too advanced, but because she simply did not have the capacity to provide growth to them or to be the recipient of criticism themselves. She did not want arguments, no conflicted views, disagreements, and in her head, this meant that the young man she was with wasn't her, and I quote, soulmate. She left for an elderly man who groomed her. This says more about her than it does about the young man in question. And at his advanced age and stage in his emotional development and life, when his career is just ending and yours has just begun, you have nothing to provide him in terms of a relationship. Like, sure, you have sexual organs, but that is not a relationship. And just being seen with him inflates his already deplorable ego. But, it's not a relationship. Is that all you can provide to him, just to boost his ego and to have sex with him? That's not a relationship. You could just be friends who have sex. I believe they call this fuck buddies. However, she was in a relationship with him because she believed that they had a special connection. For her, it was an emotional connection. And this is the thing. If you're 23 years old and you want to fuck an elderly man, you go for it, girl. I could not care less because I see no danger. Who am I? Who am I to question your sexual fetishisms, in which you have no emotional attachment to the other person you're copulating with, and it does not affect your life or your entering of a healthy relationship with a man or a woman of your own age? That's fine. That's fine. However, when these girls, these 16, 17, 18, or young women in their 20s, enter quote-unquote romantic relationships with these men, ergo the perceived emotional connection and subsequent attachment, this is when I start uploading these videos, calling these men out for what they are, okay? A 50-year-old man does not relate to a 16-year-old female on her issues. He is placating her. A 63-year-old man does not relate to a 25-year-old female of a completely different generation, race, and cultural background. He is just placating her. They're exploiting you for their own sexual gratification, because women of their own age, who, by the way, are interestingly absent from their life, just stop to consider, where are the women their own age? Why do they not relate to them? That's because these women have enough emotional development and life experience than to put up with the depraved sexual requests of these elder men, and ergo, that's why a young woman or girl becomes appealing and viable for them. This is the truth. And any young girls, women listening to this right now, this is what it's actually about. I promise you. But, she builds this facade around the one thing she is confident about, which is her academic intelligence, and this creates a narrative in her own head that over time she convinces herself of. In this case, at age 26, she was convinced that she knew what a 60-year-old knows, and has the emotional range of a 60-year-old, that she knows everything there is to know about life. However, actions speak louder than words, and when we observe her actions, we can see that, this person is naive, immature, and emotionally unstable. They know nothing of relationships, and yeah, they're frankly not in a good place. And you may be intellectual. You may genuinely relate to one another on an intellectual level. However, you have entered a romantic relationship, which is fundamentally based on an emotional connection. And for this to now be a veritable romantic relationship with an emotional connection, you would expect emotional growth, bilateral emotional growth, because that is fundamentally what a healthy, functioning relationship is. It is bilateral growth and emotional development. But as we just said, he's relating to you on an intellectual level and not an emotional level. So there is absolutely no way that a man who is 48 years of age is relating to a 16-year-old female emotionally, maybe intellectually, but not emotionally. And that is what a relationship is. Because otherwise, you're friends. You're friends in that case. But at some point, in this relationship, it became romantic. It became an apparent emotional connection that you both share. No, I promise you, there is no emotional connection here. I promise you. It is impossible for a 60-year-old man to relate emotionally to a 26-year-old female. The issues that concern you, the issues that you face, various cycles in your life that you're going through as a developing young person. And even if he can somehow placate you by using his experience, because remember, he was your age once, ultimately, he's not growing with you. You know, you should be growing together. You should be going through these cycles together and developing emotionally together. Whereas he's basically just giving you advice to help you go through whatever you're going through. But what are you providing him? What growth are you providing this man? Emotionally, he doesn't need that from you. He's fucking in his 50s, and he's in his 60s. He's winding down from life. He's done his growing. He does not need that from you. What are you providing him? It's sexual. But seriously, girls, if this man really he's somehow relating on an emotional level to a young woman in her 20s or a girl in her teens, this is not a man you should be in a relationship with because he is obviously emotionally unstable. He's dangerous. You're not equipped to deal with your own fucking issues right now. So, what makes you think you're equipped to deal with his? You shouldn't have to be dealing with his.